What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Brandon Martin, and I'm here with the one and only Corey Harris.
What's up, everybody?
You want to say hey to the people real quick?
What's up, everybody? I'm enjoying this time that I get to be on here with a close friend of mine. So I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So first and foremost, one thing we're gonna do here on KTG Podcast, since this is a mental health thing, we want to give the guests a chance to brag about themselves. A lot of people don't say enough positive things about themselves, so I'm gonna let you go ahead and you list up all your accolades and everything you've done.
I like to think of myself as a good person. Always there to help others. I'm always somebody where if anybody needs to just talk, vent, whatever. Like I've always been that person to just sit and listen. But currently, right now, a little backstory of like what I'm doing now and everything. Like right now, I'm the assistant men's basketball coach at the University of Rio Grande up here in Ohio, in Southeast Ohio, probably about an hour and a half away from like Columbus and about 2.5 hours away from Cincinnati. So really just out here trying to navigate, through my career and just trying to better these players that I get to touch their lives every single day. So, that's kind of how I am. I mean, realistically, I'm not one of those people who like to really like name off all my accolades and stuff like that. So like that's about all you're gonna get out of me right now. So
Well, listen, man, if you're going to be humble, I'm going to go ahead and brag for you. This guy, Corey Harris, is probably the best point guard I've ever played with. Like I said, I've known since I was 15, since AAU season. He is the best point guard I've ever played with. Even though we went to two different high schools, ended up going to college. I know I was a red shirt your last year playing. Still just someone I just learned from a lot on the court and even off the court. And so before this conversation goes any further, man, tell the people a background of how you got into the game of basketball or just sports in general. What made you choose basketball? Because I know you played football a little bit. I'll let you dive into that.
Right. Man, realistically, I started off when I was 3 years old. Man, that's a little 7 in there. He over there getting a little fussy. But I mean, realistically, the first ball that I ever actually picked up was actually a soccer ball. And that was at the age of 3. I actually didn't start playing the game of basketball until I was 5. And I can remember my very first basket, and it is not actually like with an actual basketball. It was with like one of those dodgeball foam balls that you play in PE with. Mm-hmm. I remember I was at I think I was at at this like school or whatever. And it was a church. And there was a basketball hoop, and I remember I just used to try to chuck it up there as hard as I could every single time, and then literally, it went in, and literally at that moment, it just I fell in love, and then I kind of just kept playing. One of the things that really motivated me when I was playing was watching my sister play when I was younger. She wore the number 10, so I looked up to her so much that I had to have number 10. If my sister was gonna have 10, I had to have 10. So that was always something to me that was really, really important and huge in my career. Then fast forwarding, I went to play high school basketball in Kennesaw, Georgia. Played at North Cobb Christian under Greg Mata, who's actually the old Ohio State head coach at Mata. Also worked with Coach Walter Jordan a little bit, who also played AAU for a little bit with Team Impact. Obviously, you know that we played together.
That's how we met. Yeah.
Yeah. So, moving fast forward, ended up going to Rome State Community College, which was a very big culture shock, big time, because obviously we in the city, you know what I mean? Marietta, Kennesaw, not too far right from the heart of Atlanta. So
right.
We're, down on Peachtree every once in a while. You know what I mean? Going to Gladys, the Chicken and Waffles, too bad they closed down. But that's just what that's where we were. Man, I got to Rome State, man. I kid you not. I saw cows on my way to school. Dudes was driving tractors as vehicles. Like, when I tell you, I literally was like, this is what I'm gonna do. Like, this is what. But at the end of the day, like, it wasn't for me to go there and like socialize and everything. Like, I was there on a mission to try to go, and try to make my dreams come true. So, fast forward, obviously, go down to Coastal. Um, um, I feel like I did pretty decent. Obviously, had an injury that I actually ended up having to end my junior season early, unfortunately. Had surgery. I remember the day, February 17th. Had surgery, came back my senior year, just really wasn't like the person that I was in, like who I used to be. I remember, man, it was so tough. Like, they used to put me on the Manu Ginobili schedule. Like, you were there. Like, I literally would practice one day. I wouldn't practice the next day. I may not even practice the day after that. I would go through walkthroughs and literally walk through and then, like, basically do everything possible to get with the trainer to make sure I was just even able to play on game day. So, that's kind of how it is. That's how it was. And then I moved to, I got fortunate enough to coach Riverdale High School. You actually came up and watched us play in the state championship. Shout out to you for coming to support. That was huge.
Always.
And then actually got fortunate enough to meet the head coach at the time, Ken French, down in San Antonio at the Final Four. So he offered me a job like a couple weeks later, and I kind of just ran with it. So that's kind of a little background on me and how I got to where I am today.
Okay, so going from a top prospect in high school, ended up having to go JUCO, things like that. What was your mental, I guess, like, what was your mental space like, knowing like I'm D1 and then you end up at a JUCO? Because I know for some kids that'll make them want to quit.
Dude, I'll tell you what, that was probably one of the most humbling experiences of my life. Like, humbling, because not only were people telling me that I was D1, like, had coaches telling me I was D1, where you going, like, and it was one of those things where it ended up like just taking over my entire mental capacity. Like, it was D1 or nothing. Like, to the point where I was so naive and so ignorant to the fact where I thought I was even too good for JUCO. And like, and looking back on it, like, I played every single night against a Division I guard. Like, I vividly remember every single day when I played at Rome State playing against a Division I guard.
And folks, he's not lying. I went out to Rome State just to hang out with him. He showed me some players he had to guard, and he's not lying, folks.
And this whole time, like, so in high school, like, everybody's telling me like I'm D1, I'm D1, I'm D1, and like, and I also thought I was. One of the things that I didn't realize, like, and this is why I truly advocate to like kids and other people, like, 100%, like, inform yourself on different levels and understand the requirements to get to those levels. Because what I didn't realize is that I wasn't even eligible to go D1 coming out of high school. I didn't know that.
Speak on it.
Yeah, like, so for me, like, I had a 2.9 GPA, but my ACT did not meet the requirements. And I didn't know that. So in my head, I was only thinking, well, I got a 2.9. Like, I know you just got to have at least a 2.5. Like, I didn't know that there was the sliding scale of the SAT, ACT component mixed in with it. Like, so, get to I'm playing in high school. I remember Coach Stowers. We were playing in, I think it was the region championship. We were playing in the region championship against Mount Perrin up at Tryon High School, and we ended up winning the region championship. This puts us in a great position. Like, we were going to state, and then I get a guy that just comes up to me. Now, understand, this is my senior year, okay? Now, my junior year, I was getting phone calls left and right. Kennesaw State. I was talking to UAB. I was talking to East Tennessee State. I remember Coach Jordan was talking to me about like Alabama A&M, Alabama State, like, and one of the things that I got in the way of my own success. There were different stipulations on my recruiting process that I was putting on myself. I didn't want to go this. I didn't want to go here because it was too far away. I didn't want to go here because it was this. I didn't want to go there because I just didn't feel like it fit me. Like, and realistically, like, I look back on it, and at the end of the day, basketball is basketball. Like, if you're blessed enough to play the game of basketball, like, I don't care if you put a milk carton out there and put it on top of a tree. Like, if I can hoop, I'm gonna hoop. So, I mean, but getting to JUCO, I tell you, it was probably the biggest like shock for me, because I'm just like, dude, these boys can hoop. And like, we playing with dudes from all over. Like, I played with Mr. South Carolina. Like, he was supposed to go to Clemson. Like basically Clemson sent him to Rome State. Like, I'm like, this is a whole new world, bro. Like, like, am I supposed to be here? Like, it got to the point where I was questioning myself. Like, I thought I was pretty good, but man, I got Mr. South Carolina going at my head every day in practice. Like, so I mean, my mental capacity, it took a toll on me for sure, because like I ended up not going Division I, and it wasn't a goal that I didn't reach the goal that I set out to do, but I understood like God had a bigger plan for my life, and so I don't think if I would have went and got to that Division I, to the Division I level, that I would have been in the space and in the capacity that I'm in today. So, I'm fortunate. I'm blessed to do what I get to do every day. Like, I love it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I love doing stuff like this, because like you got a hell of a story. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, it's just cool, because like the game of basketball can bring you and meet so many people. Like, it. Like, if it wasn't for basketball, we weren't meeting
At all.
You know
At
what
all.
I mean? So
At all.
So like, it's just crazy, like, where the game, like, around basketball can take you. Yeah.
Okay, so I heard you mention that you got injured when you went to Coastal Georgia.
Yeah.
Walk us through that process, and knowing you had to get surgery, knowing you had to cut your junior year short, and then you said you came back your senior year and you weren't the same.
Yeah.
I know for me, like I said last time when I got hurt, I lost it. I didn't know who I was. I lost who I was. I didn't know if I was going to play again. Was that some of the thoughts that you had go through your mind, or
oh, absolutely.
What's going on?
Like the biggest thing for me was I was scared.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was 100% scared. When I finally got back to playing again, I didn't drive. And the whole reason I didn't drive was because I was worried if I went for a layup, I was going to land on somebody's foot. Like, and those were the things, like the mental blocks that like I had like in my head. I would try my best not to shoot contested jumpers, because if I would shoot a contested jumper, that's how it happened. I shot a contested jumper and literally landed on somebody's foot. So like, my junior year, I'm going through this, I'm hurting, I'm in pain, like, and then on top of that, we only won 4 games. Like, you talked about how you were 4-25, dude. Like, my junior year, I went 4-25, and I'm over here like blown away, because this is the first time, like, dude, my junior and senior year of high school, bro, I went 59-4.
Oh, I know. We
So,
played
like,
against y'all. I was one of those L's.
Bro, so like, in my head, I'm like, I don't lose. Like, I don't know how to lose. I don't know how to conduct myself in a good way. Like, I don't know how, and it also helped me too, because like I was able to lead the next year to where like we ended up doing a whole lot better. Still not where I would have liked it, but at the end of the day, you can't go back and do anything about it. But mentally, like, I was done. Like, I was done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had these big dreams of going and playing overseas, playing professionally, like, and I'll tell you, as soon as it happened and I got that surgery, I was like, bro, I'm not doing this no more. Like at the end of the day, it's time for me to start thinking about my, like, what's next. And that right there was probably the hardest realization for me, because like I said, since I was 5, like, that's all I knew. Like,
It was basketball, right?
It was basketball.
That's big of you to really sit down and tell yourself, like, this is it.
Like, this is it.
Because
Like,
I'm still on this journey, and I don't know if I'm gonna tell myself to hang it up if
right,
I don't get it. So that's what I'm saying.
right, right.
That's really big of you to sit yourself down, especially at your age, a junior in college. All these different changes going on. You still
Oh,
trying to find out
absolutely,
who you are. That's
absolutely,
tough. That's
absolutely.
tough.
Like, and it was because like I really knew it, you know, because I was able to do a lot of things before I got hurt. I was able to move. My first step was super quick. Like I was able to do a lot of things. I was able to manipulate defenses and just by how I would come off of a screen. Like I was able to do a lot of those things, but when I got back, I just wasn't able to do it. Now, partly it was because of my rehab. I didn't necessarily rehab it the best that I could, and there were different reasons for that. You know, not giving it an excuse, but it, you know, kind of just it just was what it was. Um, so you know, that's the one thing too. Like, if you hurt, do the necessary things to get you back to where you need to be.
So fast forward to now.
Yes, sir.
You're coaching. You're up in how y'all pronounce it, Rio Grande
Yes, sir. Yes,
University
sir. Rio like
out in
Ohio.
Ohio. Okay, out there in Ohio. Walk us through that process. I know you got your ups and downs. You can talk about last season, how you know, what are you guys trying to do now to bounce back from what happened last year?
Yeah, yeah. So kind of getting on my coaching journey. So I remember I remember like while I was sitting out my junior year during my surgery, it was kind of like, all right, I'm telling myself I'm done after next year. So now I got to kind of find like what is it that I'm going to do next. And when I tell you it hit me like a truck, like it stopped me dead in my tracks that I mean, I was fortunate to play for Coach Watkins to where like I ran whatever play. Like I was able to call all the plays.
Mm-hmm.
I knew in my mind like who needed to get a shot where. Like I knew the game and the flow of the offense and who wasn't happy. So when they weren't happy, I knew I had to give them a call so that way they could get a shot or you know what I mean? I was able to just kind of like manage while being on the court. And it was nice because when I finally like when I hurt myself, Coach Watkins allowed me to still do that. Like I would sit on the bench and I was still calling plays. And so, you know, it was and you know, at that time it was just like I can't do anything else. Like this is it. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
not one of those people that like working on 8 to 5, sitting at a desk. Like that's just not what I want to do. That's not who I am. Like I enjoy being hands-on. I enjoy working with players like and I enjoy like getting to know the mind of an athlete to get them through the struggles that like I went through. And I wish somebody would have told me that they didn't. So um I mean, so I realized that and when I tell you this coaching journey is not easy. Like I'll tell you, my senior year, going into Christmas, so like I was a fifth year senior. So I was done playing and then I came back. That year, I had to figure out like the next step because I was about to graduate. So that December, dude, I went home and I kid you not, I sent over 300 emails to different coaches of all levels: Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, NAIA, JUCO, high school, like you name it. And every single time I was getting no's. Like, no, we don't, we got somebody. No. Sometimes I wouldn't even get a response. And like,
I know the feeling.
like
Trying to reach out to all these teams and the
right,
different
like,
agents and not getting nothing back, or some saying like you don't have the experience. You know what
right,
I'm saying? In
right,
my
right,
case, you're
exactly.
not good enough. But
Exactly, exactly. And I know like that's the thought that like goes in your head. It's like, am I good enough now? Because like some obviously don't nobody want me. Like,
right.
but you know what I mean? Don't nobody want me. So like you start to question yourself, like, am I who I think I am?
So what got you through that? What got you over that hump?
Man, I'll be honest with you, and this isn't like, if there's one thing that I'm going to talk about myself is the fact that I'm very confident in who I am and just who I am.
And that's big. A lot of people don't understand that. Confidence is key.
But I had to find that through those struggles going into my junior and senior year. At that moment, that's when I realized what this whole purpose was for. So I'm very confident in who I am. And so at that time, I had to take a step back and it wasn't necessarily they didn't want me. In my mind, I had to spin it and just say, it's not my time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not necessarily they don't want me. It's just not my time yet.
Preach.
So
Preach.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, I just had to stay down. So, like, what I ended up doing was I had some friends out in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and I was super against going the high school route. I really was. And so finally, like I said, I'm emailing all these coaches, not getting anything back. I was very fortunate to get an email back. I kind of used some leverage that I had with another school in Murfreesboro. And the coach was like, well, if you're already going to be up here, like, you might as well come work for me. Like, and I knew nothing about the team. But at the end of the day, I didn't care. I didn't care about the team because all I wanted was my foot in the door. Didn't know I was going to walk into a 26-18, which
is big, which is huge, yeah. But
like,
thing is that you were a part of that though, because the history of the school, they weren't winning.
For sure, like, we were very, that was a memorable year. Honestly, this has been amazing, yo. Like, just how this whole thing went. Like, so I leave Murfreesboro, right? I go down to the Final Four. I tell the coach at Riverdale that I'm probably going to shop myself around, because ultimately, like, I would like to get to the college level, and he was super understanding. And, like, I actually just talked to him yesterday, and that was one of the things too, like, relationships are everything for me. So whether it's like me and my point guard, or like me and the head coach, or like me and, coach's son, or coach's daughter, like, I'm just that guy who I want to make sure I have a good relationship with everybody. So go down to Final Four, meet Coach French, didn't tell him I was looking for a job at the time, honestly. And then literally a week later, he offers me a GA spot, a graduate assistant spot. And I had already been looking at some, and I was like, yeah, but I'm really not trying to go back to school. Like,
right.
Like, I'm done. Like, in my head, I'm done. I don't want to open another book. So, but then a week later, he was like, you know what? I actually have a part-time assistant spot. Dude, I'm about to be super transparent. All right. I was making $15,000. Okay. $15,000
a year.
Good
God. Okay.
So, and the thing about it is like, that's better than most of these other jobs that are out here. So, like, for me, like, and I didn't know that. Now that I'm in it, and I got a little time under me, like, now I realize that. But dude, $15,000, I kid you not, you gotta take taxes out. I kid you not, I was bringing home $1,000 a month.
Sheesh, that's hard to live on,
bro.
That's extremely hard to live on.
Who you telling? Like, and you gotta understand, bro. I'm in Murfreesboro now. We got Chipotle out there. You know what I mean?
You eating good.
Exactly. Like, there's a mall out there. Like, there's just, man, I had to tone it back a lot.
So now that you're in college coaching, how are you helping these kids get through their mental breakdowns, and how are you coaching mental toughness? Because I know a lot of coaches, they seem to, when they say mental toughness, they want to say, oh, you fell on the ground, get up.
Right.
You can't lift that weight, keep pushing.
Right.
But, and honestly, mental toughness is off the court things too.
Absolutely.
We had a teammate, I'm not going to say his name, but his mom passed away.
Facts. Yeah.
And he didn't have to come back.
Right.
And he decided to come back, and I'm sure y'all will see him on this podcast soon.
For sure.
And let him tell that story. But that's a part of mental toughness. And I know the coach we had at Coastal, Coach Watkins, he was there for us for anything. If I can call him right now and tell him some things I'm going on. So how are you doing that for these kids?
I mean, to be honest with you, it's one of those things, and it goes back to what I was saying. Like, it's all about relationships. So if I'm constantly down a kid's throat and they don't know who I am as a person before I like go at them, they'll never open up.
Mm-hmm.
They'll never. The moment that I go at them, they'll shut off. They'll shut off. They'll go away. They won't open up. But like, I like to figure out who players are outside of the player. Like that ball, like realistically, that ball shouldn't define who you are.
No.
It shouldn't. There's a lot of players who are like that. I was one of them. Like, without basketball, I was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, you just have to get to know who they are. Get to know their background. Get to know their home life. Get to know, like, what they like to do off the court. Because I feel like once you develop that relationship, you can get to know and you can kind of know what makes them tick. Like, I know for a fact, I got players right now, I haven't developed a good enough relationship with them yet to where I can go at them. So one of the things that I am working on is trying to get to know them. We got 10 new guys this year. We got 10 new guys. We got 5 returners. So right now,
it's a whole new team.
A whole new team. So right now, I've got 10 individuals that I have to get to learn while also still strengthening the 5 relationships that I had prior. Mm-hmm. So, I always tell kids, like, I'm 100% there. Like, I'm 100% there. And the thing about it is like, what a lot of people don't know is like, we have a JV team here as well. So, and I recruit a lot of those JV kids. So therefore, it's not just 15 players that I'm dealing with. I mean, realistically, it could be anywhere between 30 to 50 kids that I'm dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
And I never try to take away the time of each of them. And like, the thing about it is like, as a coach, I mean, at my age right now, I'm kind of close in age with them. So like, I'm the big brother. At times I feel like I got to be their counselor. Like,
Mm-hmm.
At times I got to get on to them about going to class and getting their grades together and making sure they're not up late and like making sure they're not out doing nothing stupid. And, but then I also teach them through my experiences. Like, I'm super open with all my players about what has happened in my life. And I feel like that helps them because they can say, oh, okay, well, Coach Harris went through that. So like, now let's figure out how he went through it to see if that's how I can handle it. And now everybody's different. So like, how I handle my situations, not everybody's able to do that. Not saying that my way is the best way because I don't think it was. I mean, there were different things that I was doing that I know for a fact weren't good for me. Like, but at the end of the day, that's how I got through it.
Right.
So
everybody has their vices.
Exactly.
I know we've spoken before. I mean, of course, I've known you since I was 15, but I remember you told me a story, and I was hoping you were kind of going to jump into it. I hope you don't mind if I bring it up, especially with today's climate going on. You had a kid that was looking to come to your school, and he only wanted to speak to you because you were a black man.
Yeah.
Touch on how important that is in today's climate with everything going on. Kids need that trust, and they see you, a black man in a position of power, they can come to you and trust you.
Right, for sure. So, so I'll actually touch on that story a little more. So, had a player was recruiting him, and literally he tells me this. This is the first time. Now, understand, this is my very first recruit that I ever had. My very first recruit I ever recruited.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, still talk to him to this day, right? So it is my guy, like, ended up going to play in the JBA, like, really like one of my guys.
For those who don't know, the JBA is the big baller brand, LeVar Ball. That was his league. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So like that was my guy. So I'm talking with him, trying to get him to understand that, like, because in his mind, he was Division I. And due to some circumstances with him, he couldn't necessarily go Division I. So I'm talking with him, you know, giving him the whole spiel about who we are, that we're a family, you know, because like that's who we were, like who we are. Like we're a family. Like anytime you need anything, like we drop it and we go get it done. So, you know, I'm talking with him and I was like, all right, so what is it about the University of Rio Grande that you want to go? He said, honestly, coach, I want to play for a black coach. And I kid you not, man, that thing stopped me dead in my tracks.
I remember you called me.
I was like, okay, like I've heard about this, but like this is happening. Like this is actually going on now. So, you know, and for me, like I'm more about like I need the coaches to care. You know, you got a lot of coaches who out there have their own hidden agenda. And you know, the thing about it is if you out there straight for the kids, whatever you want to happen in your career will happen because you're genuine and you care and you're pouring into lives and you're doing everything that you can to make sure these kids succeed. Like, and that to me was huge. Like the fact that he said he wanted to come to a school because of me, I was like, this has got to be one of the best feelings in the world. It was like I'm serving my purpose. And you know, I do think it's important that these kids have somebody to talk to, especially in America's climate today. Like, I feel like whether it's a professor, like it doesn't necessarily have to be a coach. Like, I also feel like if you're on a college campus or if you're in a building of a high school or if you're part of an organization, you've got to have somebody to talk to. Like, you just got to have somebody to talk to. And I feel like that right there is huge. Like, when I was playing, my it wasn't even my person, my people were literally Coach Watkins and Coach Jordan. Like those were my two people, both African American males. Like those are my people. Those are the ones that I relied on when I was struggling and I was going through it. Like because they've gone through it. Both of them played like at the college level. Coach Jordan went on to play professionally, like and play in the NBA. So like I just knew that like there were things that they experienced in their life that I knew I was going to go through. And when I went through it, I wanted to be prepared. And so that was huge. Like I really I really attribute a lot of who I am today to those two people. So, you know, I think it's really important to just, like I'm saying, have somebody to talk to for sure.
Man, and what you're doing right now for these kids, I'm pretty sure 10 years from now, one of those kids will be saying the same thing about you, how you feel about Coach Watkins and Coach Jordan.
Man, I hope so.
I hope so too, man. You're really making an impact, and you brought a kid into the world.
Man, my guy's 7.
You brought a kid 7 Harris.
7 James Harris.
7 James Harris. Congrats to you, 1.
I appreciate it.
And 2, how are you shaping your future to shape his?
Boy,
especially being young. You 26.
Boy, you just
almost 27. Right, how are you shaping your future to shape his?
You literally just said a mouthful, dude. Because like realistically, I wake up every day now and have a different purpose. Like, I wake up now and know I got to go get it for him. And I'm trying to better myself, trying to better, you know, who I am as a person, mentally, physically, spiritually, like, you know, to make sure that he's okay. You know, I have my girlfriend as well who like it's no longer about me. Like before she was even pregnant, like it was me. Like I was able to go out, do whatever I wanted, like it was me.
Right.
Ain't nowhere nothing near me right now. Like
you got a whole family now.
Right? I got a whole family out here, right? So like now it's just more like, man, when I tell you I make sure I surround myself with people who got the same goals. And not only that, but people who are more successful than me. Like, I make sure of that. Like, I got people that I call like throughout the week to make sure that like I'm staying sharp. Like, Tori gets on me all the time because like I'm on the phone all the time. But like what I'm doing is I'm also like sharpening my brain so that way like I can make sure that we're good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's people, and then honestly, it's not even just coaches. Like, I'm talking to people about like financial advisors. I'm talking to people about like mortgages and like how to make sure that I can create generational wealth, because like now, like I'm saying, it's not about me. Like, man, if you would literally, the word generational wealth meant nothing to me, like literally probably 9 months ago. It didn't.
And now you brought a kid into the world.
Bro, generational wealth is literally everything that's
It's
in my mind
everything.
right now.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I want him to not want for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
If I got to work 4 jobs, like it's gonna happen. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
it's been like, and it really hadn't even been like super tough. It's just been honestly like one of the biggest blessings in my life. Like, to see like my little guy like just like open his eyes and like come to practice with me, like I'm trying to get him ready, because we going, we
He's
got
got to
work.
be. He's got to be
You
a
know what I'm saying? We
hooper.
got work to
He's
do.
got
You
to
know what I
be.
mean? We got work to do. Like, but that's just really what it is, man. It's not about me anymore, and it's all about like the family.
All right, now, so before I let you go, I want you to give the people, you know what I'm saying, some advice. Give people 3 things they could do to mentally attack, you know what I'm saying, attack adversity and just mentally get over all humps they're going through.
Number one, I would say make sure you're taking care of yourself. Like, do the necessary things in order to make sure that you're okay. If you need a break, listen to yourself. Don't sit there and try to push through. Like, there's a difference between like being soft and then like knowing what, like listening to your body that it's time. Um, I think, I think that's super big. So number one, listening to yourself and taking care of yourself. Number two, find people who really are trying to better themselves. Find people who are trying to better themselves. Because like, if you're finding people who are trying to better themselves, I guarantee you they're not allowing a lot of negativity in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And so, negativity is contagious, but what's also contagious is positivity. So if you are around people who are constantly like trying to be positive, constantly uplifting, like that's contagious. And therefore you can feel better about yourself. So that way, if you're going through a dark day, you know, therefore you have somebody who can pick you up. So listen to your body, be around successful people, like be around people who are trying to get, better themselves. And then number three, what I would say is don't be afraid. Like, just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of the unknown. Don't be afraid, because what happens with fear is like everything we want in this world is on the other side of fear. Like, the fear somebody's going to judge you. Well, guess what? You may be talking to somebody who's gone through the same things as you, and they can help you through that. So when you're talking about, I don't want to do this because they're going to look at me a certain way, guarantee you a lot of people aren't as small minded as you would think. Um, I can say that because when I was going through a tough time, like realistically, like you were there to help me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was able to
Mm-hmm.
talk to you. I was able to talk to like Coach Jordan, and some of my close people who I knew they would be like, bro, you good. Like, you're good. And like there were times where I almost didn't want to say anything because I was afraid, like people would be like, oh, you soft. Like, and realistically that it just wasn't the case. Like, there are things that your body goes through and your mind goes through that can honestly be like a stumbling block at times. And then number four, I know you said three, but I'm gonna give you one more.
That's, hey, the more the better, man. People, this
And
is this is for.
number four is don't block your blessing. Like, don't be in the way of your own self. And what has to happen by doing that is you literally have to go through the day purposeful. And when that happens, like when you're out there serving others and you're out there living a selfless life, like great things happen. And it may not be for you, but it may be for somebody else. So I think it's super huge to just, don't block your blessing. So those are the four. And like I said, I know you said three, but those are definitely four.
Man, those last two.
Yeah.
Those last two you just said, I think that's really gonna resonate with a lot of people. Really all four, but those last two, I know those resonated with me.
Right.
I've dealt with, blocking my own blessing, being afraid, being fearful. Like you said, man, like fear and doubt will kill your dreams quicker than anybody else will.
Anybody.
So yeah, man. So Corey Harris, man, I appreciate your time.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. You're my brother. Always will be my brother. I love you. This is big of you to come on here.
I appreciate you having me, man. Like,
hey,
I'm so proud of you, dude. like you don't even know. Like, I'm so proud of you because, we didn't even touch on this. And I know, if there's a way for you to edit this and flip it, but I'm proud of you. And the reason I'm proud of you is because, dude, you've gone through it, bro. Gone through it, bro. Not only gone through it, but gone through it and stuck with it, and then every time you get an obstacle, it's just you more determined to just go and just attack it. And every single time, you just go at it with a vengeance. So, and I also think too, I'll be real with you, B. I think you're starting to come into your purpose.
We'll see. I hope so, man.
I think this is huge, dude. I love that you're doing this because this is something mental health in sports, mental health just in the world, bro. That right there is so huge and is not talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you're letting one, you open up yourself on the last episode, but then also just allowing others to come on and share their stories. That's huge, bro. That's huge.
I appreciate it, man. Well, it was an honor to have you as the first guest on here. I'm pretty sure this one's gonna go crazy. A lot of people gonna tune in. I hope it does. There's a lot of gems in this video. So again, Corey, I appreciate it. I thank you. I love you.
I appreciate you too, my guy.
Yes, sir. All right, man.